Thomas and Friends is a show about trains. It's pretty hard to deny. But there are road vehicles. You got Birdie, Bulgy, Terrence, the list goes on. But who is the best road vehicle? George the Steamroller. Like, is there any doubt about it? Yeah, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion or not to say George is the best, but in my honest opinion, George is quite easily the best road vehicle in the entire franchise, and today I'll talk about why, going through the character's history throughout the Railway series and TV show, and talk about what makes him stick out to me. Let's begin. George the Steamroller is based off of an Evelyn Barford R class steamroller, and only ever made 2 appearances in the Railway series, once in the story Gallant Old Engine in the story Steamroller, and a second time in the book Thomas Comes Home in the story Thomas Comes Home. In Steamroller, he gets into a fun conflict with Sir Handel in what, in my opinion, is probably the funniest Railway series story. Sir Handel and George just clashed so well, and it made this one really funny to read. As for his appearance in Thomas Comes Home, it's not as significant. He gets into a little bit of a comeuppance with Daisy after putting cones in front of the rails, and that's kind of it, honestly. He's not in this story as much, and he only causes Daisy a minor inconvenience at worst. And that was kind of it, really, for George in the Railway series. I know he's obviously not one Wilbert or Christopher really wanted to do much with, but especially good considering what we're going to be able to talk about a little soon with the TV show. George is a bit undercooked in the Railway series, in my personal opinion. He's fun whenever he gets to appear, but he just doesn't get to appear often enough for me to call him, like, a real standout here. The TV show, on the other hand... While I made it earlier sound like that George appears a lot in the TV show, he only really has 2 major episodes and 1 supporting role in another one where he speaks. Admittedly, only 1 more story than the Railway series, but I think he left a better impact in these 3 episodes than he did in the whole book series. Let's explain. With the release of Season 4 in 1995 and the introduction of the narrow gauge engines, the Railway series story Steamroller that we previously talked about would be adapted for the TV show in this season. Along with that, George finally making his debut in the series. The way they used him is also very interesting too, because while he doesn't differ too much from his book counterpart, I think now it being in a more visual medium kind of makes it a bit funnier that he's this tiny little steamroller just messing with this tiny little steam engine. I honestly think it adds to the comedy that was already very funny there.
You swank around with your steamroller wheels, pretending you're as good as me. Actually, I'm better. Goodbye.
It makes me wonder if the TV crew was thinking, you know, George works really well here in this visual medium. Why not we use him a little more often for the following season? As in 1998, with the release of Season 5, George would actually have 2 speaking appearances. Granted, with the episode appearance in Lady Hat's birthday party, he only has a minor role, though he's got the most memorable line in the entire episode.
Yourself a car, you're a disgrace to the road. Find yourself a scrapyard.
Classic. What's also most important to note during this time is in Season 5, George actually got a starring role in the episode By George. Something very rare for road characters to get, and honestly, they pulled it off very well. George is at his worst in this story. You constantly see him belittle Scarlowe, Rheneas, and Percy. He causes Thomas a big crash. He delays Duck, and he has Gordon smash through a troublesome truck. It is really funny how far they pushed him, and
I need to flatten little engines in the scrapyards, retorted George.
I can't help but love it. I wish they did more episodes like this. Sadly, though, this kinda was the end for George.
Ripping up rails, he chortled. What a life!
He was initially going to play a sizable role in Thomas and the Magic Railroad, where he was going to help Diesel 10 find the magic buffers and tear them down. However, because of George's model never making it to Canada, this never happened. And as for George after Magic Railroad seasons, he doesn't really do anything. Like, throughout season 6 to 10, he does appear in background cameos, but that's all he really does. He got a non-speaking role in Calling All Engines, but he didn't really do anything. And he'd make his final episode appearance in Season 10 with Big Strong Henry, and his final overall appearance in the direct-to-DVD movie The Great Discovery. He was, however, considered to return in CGI with the Season 23 episode Free the Roads. However, due to budgeting costs, he was replaced with Max and Monty in the story. However, George did actually get mentioned in CGI through a 2011 DVD game. This is real. And that ends George's story in the franchise. While he's never been the most prominent character, he's definitely one I think is very memorable, with his rude remarks, his desire to have the railway tear down, and all the damage he's caused in retrospect. Why is he my favorite road character? I think it just comes down to, he's that one worker you just cannot get along with no matter how much you try. Every other difficult character in the series at least has, some decency. You look at James, heck, even Diesel after a while can have this. But you look at George, he's just the worst, and I absolutely love him. They don't even try to make him a decent or sympathetic character. They know he's a bad guy, and they embrace it, and it's just funny overall. And sometimes, at the end of the day, that's all you need. Somebody who's entertaining and funny, and just the worst person in the world. And to me, that's just George. Thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and tell me down below, is George your favorite road character? If not, then who is it? I'm very curious at what your answer is. Until next time, later.